They done did it again. They done did it again. They done did it again. They pulled the rabbit out of the hat, my friends. If you were watching, if you were on with us earlier today on the live show earlier this afternoon, you had a good idea of this news that just hit. Darian Mensah, former, it's still on paper, but former Duke quarterback, is in the transfer portal. We don't have to, look at any reports. We don't have to think about any speculation. We can hear it and we can see it from the man himself. This is not any speculation. This is from Darian Mensah himself. I'm forever grateful for Duke and the coaching staff. Thank you, Duke family, for everything. This wasn't an easy decision, but after talking with my family, I believe it's in my best interest to enter the transfer portal. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate everyone for joining me this evening. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the law offices of Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, as always, for their support. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. If you were watching earlier today, we tried laying out what was about to happen. We kind of told you guys, look, if this news is leaking that Darian Mensah, that Duke is concerned about him hitting the portal, that means he's already put his request in. And I tried walking you guys through the steps of what was about to happen. This seems to be the cleanest scenario. And it may not be the smoothest situation. You're already seeing Duke claiming NIL rights for Mensah. But if you guys were in Miami, if you guys were in South Florida today, I don't know. I can't claim where you guys were across the country. But if you were here in South Florida, it was beautiful weather. I would call it the type of weather to get your quarterback snatch in broad daylight in. That was the type of weather it was, because that's what Mario Cristobal and Manny Diaz just did. This is, and of course, we still have some formalities to go through here. But from my understanding, as I said earlier today on this platform, on this live show, people in Darian Mensah's camp as of this morning, because Darian Mensah has not been on campus at Duke. Darian Mensah was in Tampa. So he's been training at a facility. He has not been at Duke. I don't know how long he's been there, but he was in Tampa training, and people around him, as of this morning, were saying he's headed to University of Miami. He's going to be Miami's quarterback next year. So, and again, I gave you guys this information earlier today on the live show. If you're just joining us today, I appreciate everyone who's hopping on with us here. The hurdles to get over in terms of how quickly does it happen and all that, I don't have no idea when an announcement may or may not occur. We have a national championship to play here. So, of course, that is emphasis number one. They're going to be hosting some visitors on campus this weekend, high-profile visitors. Everyone needs to take a deep breath when it comes to the transfer portal, including myself. I was freaking out this morning about quarterback, but this is, again, what they've done the last 2 years at the very last hour. And that's why I kept titling everything the final hours of the search, because deep down, with the momentum that you have as a program, you need to capitalize. And what are you doing once you finalize this deal here with Darian Mensah? You're getting a guy who is number 2 in the country in passing yards, number 2 in the country in passing touchdowns, a legit, talking to NFL people right now, would have been a top, maybe if he came out this year, still could have worked himself the way that this thing's playing out in terms of it being a weak class, maybe would have worked himself into a late first-round pick here going through the process. But you're now getting a guy who has the adequate size and athletic ability, has the big arm, can push the ball downfield, is healthy, it was productive in the conference that you play in. So you talk about a perfect situation coming into Miami now behind, as we say with anyone, behind these weapons. But he was already a guy who was highly paid, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in college football last year, and handled that pressure well for having the supporting cast and having a putrid coaching staff and having a putrid head coach in Manny Diaz as a leader. So imagine the jump he's going to be able to take in his game now with a real support system around him. With you got an offensive line, you got some playmakers. You obviously have Malachi Toney as one of the best players in the country, a top 3, maybe the best player in the country. Cam Vaughn, Josh Moore, Vandrevius Jacobs. But again, you go from, and I can say this, I said it on the last show, you go from slop meat spam and Manny Diaz to Lomelo's Wagyu in what you're going to be getting here in the resources, in the coaching you're getting, in the development, in Mario Cristobal on the offensive line that's going to be in front of him. So massive, 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 massive news here. I mean, again, you still have some steps to go through here, but the reports nationally, and I'll tell you, I don't need to hear the national reports to confirm what I heard, which is, again, as of this morning, his people were telling others he's Miami's quarterback this year. The dates of when it gets announced and all that, we can figure out how that happens. But as Josh Sarnoff is saying here, he says it was his camp who reached out. You know what these allegations are going to be in terms of tampering. Tampering is a lie. Every player has an agent. These agents are paid and get a percentage of these NIL deals to go find the best deal for the player out there. Not only monetarily, by the way, because you're hearing some things from Duke people, even if the money was the same here, because Duke, by the way, has money. We see them spend it big time on the basketball side. So you can't tell me if they know what this is in the importance of this player is their football program. That's a moneymaker for them. But even if the money was equal here and they ponied up, I don't think this kid would stay at Duke because he understands what's on the other side of Miami in front of him. So the agent's job is to go get the best opportunity for their player, not just monetarily, but hey, is this situation going to get my client? And you have to work in the best interest of the player. This is a situation in Miami. They're in the national championship game right now with best pass protection in the country. They're going to keep you clean. They're going to give you a run game. They're going to surround you with weapons. That defense is going to be biting. They're going to be more physical than anyone in the country. Look what they did with the last 2 quarterbacks. Move Cam Ward up from being a late round pick to the number 1 pick in the draft. Carson Beck have completely helped him reshape his image and the narrative around him. Beck has put in the work. Cam Ward put in the work. You can't take anything away from those guys. But this is what the agents are here to do. Go find the best opportunity for the client. Tennessee, another program who was out there. But as I said earlier this morning, Miami was the focus of this one. So they done did it again. Mario Cristobal, Dennis Smith, got to give them credit. You got to give them credit. The process is not always as fans now. It's going on 3 years now. It's a bit of a woozy process, right? Ups and downs, highs and lows. We're all clamoring for certain people at a certain point, and then these last few days, you're like, all right, just give me anyone who can throw the football and has some experience. Or give me someone who's a young talent that you can potentially build on moving forward. But we should know better. We should know that this staff, and again, Mario, Dennis, Shannon Dawson, who are making these decisions, that they can, whether it's because, look, they've gone after other guys here. There's no secret about that. But if you can just Close your eyes and imagine and pick any quarterback in college football for next season to be your quarterback. Who Mensah's in that top 3. I mean, who else is there, right? Lenore Sellers, the potential we love as an athlete. I think he could still be a first rounder down the line if he develops this year, but the accuracy is a bit all over the place. This is the best case scenario. Production, NFL upside, which both of these last 2 guys have had. And I think, as Canes man Laz is saying, he says Mensah 2026 Heisman. You got to think he's going into the season as one of the favorites here. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna try to get to some of the questions. And Tone is asking, is he in the portal? We don't have to speculate, my friend. He again, I'm gonna bring this up again because if you weren't with me when I started the show, this is not from 247 Sports. This is not from myself. This is not from Pete Thamel. This is from Darian Mensah. He says, I am forever grateful for Duke and the coaching staff. Thank you, Duke family, for everything. This wasn't an easy decision, but after talking with my family, I believe it's in my best interest to enter the transfer portal. So this is no speculation, my friends. This is what it is. Duke may hold that paperwork as long as they possibly can. He may not officially hit it until, Sunday night or something like that, because that's what happens in these cases. But if he's out there publicly saying it, he has established his case. He has established where he stands in this situation. And yeah, what does this mean now? As Damian Kane says, makes you think Mario had his eyes on Mensah with the portal pickups, 2 burners at wide out. Mensah has the best deep ball in the FBS. I mean, facts. I mean, this is and here's the thing. We talk about wide receiver, but the other news that has now hit is, which Pete Thamel reported, and again, D-Money and I have been very cautious and really pessimistic on Miami's chances with this next one I'm going to mention here, and that's Jordan Seaton, #1 tackle in the country. A guy who is he came in as a 5-star and has pretty much lived up to the hype playing at Colorado. But again, D-Money and I had both said this was probably a long shot for Miami, but based on some stuff I'm hearing, man, and again, Pete Thamel is obviously best in the business of what he does, and he's getting fantastic information as well. If a guy like this is on campus, Miami's not bringing guys portal-wise on campus that they don't have serious interest in, and vice versa. I think from his perspective right now, from what I understand, he knows he's getting paid wherever he goes. You go to Texas. He visited Mississippi State because his former offensive line coach is there. But those type of schools, this guy's going to get $2.5-3 million wherever he goes. He's going to get paid maybe more than that. We understand what Miami values in terms of offensive linemen. We understand that this is where the bread and butter is for them. So he knows that money is going to be pretty equal across the board. What's the differentiator? The coaching and the development. Alex Mirabal. Everyone keeps sharing those pictures of him at Miami and those videos of him training on campus. It's not so much even about him being on campus. It's about who's he talking to right now. Who's someone that he knows very well. CC Mauanoa, who's about to be a first-round pick, a top 15, top 20 pick now in the draft. As a right tackle, Seaton plays left tackle. So what do you think? What do you think the sort of questions Jordan Seaton's asking CC Mauanoa are? What's the coaching like? What's Mirabal like? I think that could be a huge separator here for Miami in this one. And look, you get your quarterback, you get your left tackle, you already got a couple receivers in the fold. I don't know that they're done adding playmakers. You potentially want to add a tight end here as well. So you got to feel fantastic right now if you're a Hurricanes fan. This morning I was a little bit scared. I think as a lot of people were. D-Money was holding strong. I give him credit there. Behind the scenes, he was wobbling a little bit, but I think you had to find it hard pressed for this staff not to find someone. And not only does it look like they found someone, they might have found the best of the best, a top 3 in the country. Wanted to get to a couple of these paid comments. ECAP says, boys, thank you for what you do. If we get Mensah, and I'm hearing we're getting left tackle Seaton, we'll keep this thing rolling next year. Let's win this game Monday, man. Let's go get number 6. We're all ecstatic about this opportunity, but this is momentum on top of momentum. This is as good as it gets. If you're a fan, because obviously you're playing for the prize, and you're bringing in potentially best QB on the market, who we didn't know was on the market before today, best offensive lineman on the market, and then Damon Wilson. Hopefully he's here. He makes it on campus this weekend. I think Miami's trending in a very good direction there. He left Texas Tech without committing to them, which is usually a good sign. If you leave Lubbock without the oil money getting to you, and it may still get to. I don't know what ends up happening there, but I think Miami feels good about where that's trending. So one thing, this portal period has been all over the place, but one thing I'll say that, again, both D-Money and I have been pretty consistent with is, and it's not going to be as many portal guys as maybe we both thought, but go spend the money at important positions. You know what quarterback's going to cost you a lot. Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor as big-time production guys, NFL draft guys. That's a lot of money out the door. So how are you going to replace that? And it looks like Damon Wilson seems to be that piece there. So you're getting probably the best defensive lineman on the market, best tackle on the market. Again, hypothetically, I'm just saying like how this thing hopefully seems to be playing out. And then best quarterback, you're reloading. You're reloading. I mean, that is a scary, scary thing if you're the rest of college football. And I again, you've paid a lot of these young guys. It looks like you're going to retain a lot. You're going to lose some here in this next week after the national championship. But you got to give everyone from top to bottom credit for how this thing's playing out. The recruiting staff, player personnel, obviously the coaches doing their jobs. But I don't think I'm ever going to take this jacket off the way things are going. Like, I don't know why I would. This thing is it's special. I can't wait to get more gear at the Miami Hurricane team store. I'm going to try to look at some of these comments here, man. I've been on a roll here. I got to get to some of these starred comments. Hot Menudo, appreciate you. He says, remember when Mario was viewed as the QB killer? Boy, have the turned tables. Yeah, man, narratives are a funny thing. They're not always true, obviously, but the narrative now is pretty simple to me and factual. It's like, if you're a quarterback, what do you need? You need obviously some skill position guys. You need a good run game, and you're not going to get all of these things. You need a great pass protection, offensive line, and great is most of these guys will take good, but you're going to get all of these things in Miami. So why wouldn't you want to come play here? And at that point, it's on you. Obviously, the play calling, which people can argue all you want, but I like where we're at offensively. If this is going to be the formula, what can we argue with? What can we complain about? So, yeah, man, I'm gonna try to look at some of these comments. Rock okay and asking who we're losing. Look, you got to think if there's guys who have been here for a couple of years, haven't really played. You're bringing in certain guys, certain positions. You got to think you're losing a quarterback or two, running back or two. You've already lost 4 receivers, right? So offensive linemen, I mean, you maybe lose a guy there. D-line, you've already lost Dante Simpson and Dalen Russell. So I think we're forgetting how many you've already lost also. So yeah, we'll see. Gary Paul Messina saying Rock Boys, saying UT and Florida could be in on this. No, man. Tennessee. This is again, if you listened to me earlier, I reported if and when Mensah enter the portal, Miami would be the destination. Pete Thamel has actually reported that Tennessee is not recruiting him. Florida has already brought in Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech. So this is not something. I'll tell you guys if I'm speculating on stuff. What I said earlier was me reporting information that I knew and that I had. So that seems to be playing out here. This is, again, I'm not speculating when I say this information and when I'm talking about him right now. People in his camp, as of this morning, were operating as if Darian Mensah would be Miami's quarterback, and this was before a lot of the recent stuff hit the news. So Kyle saying Florida already tampered to get Philo. Don't let them try to run our name in the mud. And I agree, because Kyle, you said the same thing earlier. Like, people were going to say, "Oh, Miami tampered here with Mensah." How did Darian Mensah and little old Manny Diaz, come together there at Duke? He was at Tulane. How did he become how did he get a $4 million deal last year at Duke? It just fell out of the sky. Tampering it's not real. There's agents now, guys. Like, this is what the system has in place. Again, if you were on the show earlier, like, my thoughts, and if you've watched me, my thoughts on this situation as a whole. Duke could have tried to, like, and I don't know how this is going to play out. They may still try to play hardball and, like, make things difficult, but you cannot prevent this kid from coming to the University of Miami. You can't do it. He's not an employee of Duke. If they want to limit his revenue sharing, that's not a real thing right now. No player is getting paid by revenue share. They're getting paid by NIL collectives. So, again, these things, these fancy words that these reporters can throw out there sound great, but that's not really the reality of how things happen, right? Like, Duke's trying to get out ahead of things, trying to say that Miami is tampering and he's not going to be able to make NIL money, but it's just not true. So that's how things, I think, are going to continue playing out here. Hopefully, I don't know when an announcement would come from Miami's standpoint. I think that's going to be something that maybe happens after the championship. Call it a distraction or whatever, but if it happens before, great. Let's just hope everything goes through here, as he's already said he's going to the portal, and like I said, Duke probably ends up playing hardball here, but nothing you could do to stop him from ending up a Miami Hurricane if that's where he wants to be, which everything indicates that is. Ohio Hurricane 9843 says, "I'm so excited. Go Canes." Yeah, man, this is the best case scenario I think we can really think of. This kid's an absolute stud, big arm, good athlete, productive, has been a starter for multiple years, NFL upside. I mean, big time NFL upside. Probably would have been a draft pick this year. You really can't. And again, Mario Cristobal taking Manny Diaz's lunch money. Not many things I'm sure Mario enjoys more. And it's like taking candy from a baby, quite frankly. I mean, there's not much you're selling there if you're Duke and Manny compared to Miami. So yeah, man, just wanted to check in with you guys again here as more news continues to break. Appreciate everyone who supported today. Shout out to Lomelo's Meat Market. Shout out to Aries Law PA for your estate planning needs. Check him out. It's my dad, AriesLawPA.com. Will's Trust He'll get you set up, schedule your free consultation today. And then with LaMelo's, got the meat giveaway and the player exclusive backpack filled with all the meat. So go to LaMelo's Meat Market, go to Kane's Insight on Instagram, enter for a chance to win. That giveaway will conclude tomorrow with the winner being announced on Saturday afternoon. So yeah, I mean, really excited about this pickup here. Appreciate everyone for hopping on with me today. Go Canes.